It started out quite late one night, as these things usually do for us musicians. We kind of get into these places where it's a very strange thing actually, where especially a song like Mirror in My Eyes is one of my first real experiences of this happening. You have this idea, or you start playing something, or something that your hands kind of need to do in terms of playing the guitar, and something kind of comes to you, and whether it's a chordal thing or a rhythm thing or just an idea, I couldn't decide whether I had made a piece of music or a great backing track in A minor. And I'm really hoping it was the first, because it was really fun to play over, and I suppose a lot of it came from that. And I was just lost myself for 10 minutes, and I was sort of just soloing over the top of it and jamming over the top of it, and I came up with this, what I immediately thought of as this just incredibly cheesy melody. And the more I did it, the more I sort of thought about, actually, do you know what, this could be kind of cool, but I had to decide whether or not this is the kind of thing that I do. I put all conventions of the music I make and conventions of what I want to be thought about as a musician aside, and I just thought, let's just write this song. And when I had that, I finally realised that what I was doing was a song. I wanted it to be an immediate connection. And I came up with this melody, which became was a mirror in my eyes. Most of the song came very naturally from there. I realised that the guitar solo was going to go over the intro part, because I thought this cool rhythm, and I think I was jamming over it for the most time at the start before I even wrote the chorus, and I thought, I already started to have some ideas, the sort of beginning bit, and I started to think, well, I have something to go into here. So the verse part came a little bit slower, and I wasn't actually sure. Well, I'm kind of in a bit of a rut, because I don't want to play the same chords the whole way through the song. I don't want it to just feel like this 4-chord song. I wanted to do something different, and I didn't really know where to go, so I thought, try a different angle. I picked up the bass, and I tried to play this sort of, I guess, funky bass line where I was going, bump, ba-da-ba-dunk, ba-dump, ba-da-ba-dunk, ba-dump, ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum. It wasn't that guitar didn't come until later, but I knew that I was okay, because I had a verse structure of some kind, and I had some time to really think about that, and that was the only part that didn't come naturally to me, that guitar in the verse. The pre-chorus just made so much sense to play these ascending chords, and I kind of just worked it out by ear. It wasn't a case of, do I go to the dominant here, and do I move, and am I going to the 4-chord? It wasn't any thought like that. It was more, what am I hearing in my head? Let's see if I can do it on the guitar. The bass really helped to bring out different chord voicings from that sort of standard A minor, D, G, C thing going on. And that made the intro, which sound really sound really good. I think I actually recorded the bass the same night I started working on everything else, and I really started to think the bass part over the melody, which is the dun dunk dun 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 sort of thing. I don't think those are the right notes, but that's the sound of it. So and the funk part in the sort of funky bit before the last pre-chorus, that bit was I sat there for like half an hour. I just thought, like, I'm just going to play this until I go absolutely mad, and just like feel it out as much as I could, and it was like, I got to the point where it was like I almost couldn't play it wrong, and I still can't play it that well now, but it's one of those repetitive, do it until like you can't do it wrong, rather than do it until you can do it right. All these like little bits, and then they all sort of came together, and then I sort of spliced them in, and I was like, right, how do I want this to sound? Now you've got to learn it, and you've got to be able to play it together, and that was, it's quite tricky actually, because it's all the parts don't necessarily, they are very call and response, and there are breaks, but at the same time some of them were like quite awkward jumps, and I had to work it out, how to play it almost by ear a lot as well, because it's like I'm going off the recording and I was like, what did I do? And I thought, not to give too much away, because I don't necessarily want to do that, but I thought, and this is what I will say, that Mirror in My Eyes is this idea of having this strange entity or barrier that forces things that you should usually be able to take in from outside of you, it forces them away. I'm very interested in the way that we think about things, and the way that I think about things. And it's not always such a, life's not always such a sort of straight line. It's not always such a, like sort of a fairy tale, like, train ride or something. It's almost quite a lot. It was quite hard to write. It was quite a lot to say. It was, it was sort of, I'm making any fear that comes to me the drug I must start taking. It's like this idea that you're self-sabotaging yourself, and it's this idea that you're like, it's almost obsessive. It's almost like obsessive compulsive self-sabotage, even though that it's happening, but you start to, pull the curtain back and you start realizing that this is how you are. There's a song that is quite downbeat in its nature, but hopefully has a, and I hope this about all my music, but hopefully has an optimistic outcome. So, in your light, I see walls worth escaping. It's like this, it was one of my favorite lyrics I've ever written. I just thought it was like this really beautiful but really tragic idea. And then the last chorus is the spin. So it's like, it's slightly different. It's, and now I see the sky was a mirror in my eyes. It's like, oh, it took this song, it took all of it to go, I get it. I actually get it. If it wasn't because of that, or it wasn't because of this person, then I would still be the same person as I was in the first verse, Music very recently for me became about telling stories, and I set out on this kind of mission to record this EP, which turned into just every way I do music, but to be really personal, and just to say, why would anyone want to, hear me sing about something that isn't me, or isn't, unique in that sense that it's coming from a place that is very much like my head and my feelings, my heart, and all this. Let's write this really, really honest collection of songs, and let's just say it as if you're never going to put it out. Say it as if you were never ever going to put it into the world, and that was the process of recording this song, and it was absolutely great. So if you guys enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it, you can find the entirety of the making of Mirror in My Eyes Part 1 on my Patreon page. It's 35 minutes long, and it talks about everything that goes into the writing process, and my thoughts on how to record, and just how the song really came together, I guess. You'd also be really helping me out and supporting me, and helping me get new content to you guys, and helping me make new music. And I just want to say thanks so much for all the support so far, guys. So I hope you have a lovely week, and can't wait to see you in Part 2, which is all about guitars and all the process that went into that. So see you soon.